Hey there, Red Devil Nation. Welcome back for another Alumni Spotlight. Today we are honored to have Will Scott, Dickinson football class of 2008 with us. Will, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So before we get into your time here at Dickinson, just tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you got into playing football.
Absolutely. So I'm like from like a lot of Dickinson kids. I'm from the DMV area.
Okay.
So originally a PG County kid. I went to Mercersburg Academy, which is about 40 minutes down the road from Dickinson. And in Mercersburg, I played football, ran track, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of that. And Coach Q actually came down for a recruiting visit. And I met Coach Q, and instantly I knew I was going to Dickinson. After that meeting, it was pretty intense. I've never seen a coach with forearms as strong as his. So I knew after that I was definitely going to Dickinson. But I've always been a Redskin fan, and the Redskins used to have training camp at Dickinson. So I was always kind of familiar with the school, being from the DC area. And it just kind of worked itself out and merged, and it's been great.
Yeah. So when you first met Coach Q, what really attracted you to him? What did he say that got you interested in Dickinson? And when you finally got to the campus, what really connected you with the campus and the area?
Yeah, absolutely. It was interesting. Like I said, obviously as a Mercersburg kid, the Central PA connection was already there. But when Coach came to visit, his focus was on how they could make a Dickinson education fit for my long-term goals. And it was like the sparking point of the conversation. He talked to me about, how challenging the freshman seminar would be, and different things about the school. And I thought I was going to only talk about athletics. And it was the first time a coach had really come to me and kind of like talk to me about like all the things, all the ways I was going to grow as a student. And it really kind of, sparked my interest. And then when I got to take a visit up to this campus and got to hang out with some of the older guys and, actually walk on the campus and see those limestone walls and, kind of feel that atmosphere, I knew I was at home. I knew I was at home.
Mhm. Talk about how that Dickinson experience helped you and made Dickinson stand out from the rest, where the coaches supported you doing other things and encouraged you to do other things across campus.
Yeah, I had a unique time at Dickinson. As I was explaining prior to the call, I met my wife at Dickinson.
Mhm.
She was a bit of an upperclassman when I got there. So obviously Dickinson in general just has a special place in my overall life. I was married. I got married at Dickinson on Dickinson's campus.
Oh, that's really cool.
But while I was there, coach allowed me to run track. So I also ran track all 4 years while I was there. He encouraged me to get involved and do a lot of other things. I was a student senator while I was there. I was a member of the Gray Hats Honors Society while I was there. I actually founded a fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. I was the founding member
Oh,
of Kappa
wow.
Alpha Psi while I was there. So, Coach was really big on having us do other things. And quite a few guys actually ran track, while I was there. We had an All-American, Chris McInerney, who played baseball. He was All-American football and in baseball. So Coach really encouraged us to like really get an opportunity to experience college. And that was one of the cool things where it was a bit more open. It wasn't just football. Yeah, you had to do what you had to do on the football field, but there was opportunity to actually be a student, and that's amazing, right? Because you don't get those years back.
No, you don't. No, that is really true. And, before we really touch on your athletic career, what inspired you to get involved in student senate and to even start your own fraternity? Because that's something you don't always hear a lot of people saying. So where did that passion and that drive come from to wanting to get that involved in the campus life at area?
Well, the Dickinson saying, right? If we don't have it, you can bring it.
Yep.
That's the kind of the selling point, and they really mean it, and they really stay true to it. And they don't even mean clubs; they mean whole fraternal organizations. So I'm just fortunate, that Dickinson encourages that type for people to do that type of stuff, right? And it's like, hey, look, we have a platform here. There's something you want to do, do the homework and bring it to us, right? And I think while I was on campus, I wanted to be very involved and leave a lasting mark on the campus. And I think there were some avenues for me to do that. A lot of those programs, fortunately, are still alive today,
Hmm.
and still active today. But more of a personality type.
And how do you think doing that helped prepare you for life after college? What were the lessons that you took away from bringing your own fraternity to campus, being involved in student senate, and and being able to connect with so many different people?
Yeah, I think for me, in my career, what's kind of helped me has always been, I would call it like my mental endurance, or just my brain stamina. Obviously being a two-sport athlete, and then you have the rigor of just being a normal Dickinson student. And then on top of that, you've got to make your schedule fit in student senate and African American society and gray hats and fraternities and all those different things. You learn how to be organized. You learn how to shift and maximize your time. And I think that's been the thing that's most propelled me outside of my Dickinson life, is the ability to blend and mix into different places. At student senate, I wore my senate hat. When it was time to smack someone in the mouth, who ran a fly route, I smacked them in the mouth there. And when it was time to do this, I did that. And it just helps you. It helps you prepare yourself for the real world,
Mhm.
for the real challenges that you have to face when you leave those limestone walls.
Being able to wear those hats, what were the lessons that you learned being part of so many different organizations while also balancing an athletic career and, of course, the student aspect of Dickinson, which is not exactly a walk in the park?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing was learning that none of the groups would give me time off. Actually, now that I think about it, so like excuses. I didn't get to give any group excuses, which was probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned. I never could tell Coach Q, "Hey, yeah, Coach, I'm a little beat up because of a late student senate meeting that kept going last night," or because of track. "Hey, Coach, I missed the workouts." Like, I was never allowed that freedom. So I guess the biggest takeaway has been, like, no one wants to hear your excuses.
Hmm.
You signed up, get it done.
Right.
So that's obviously helped me outside of school.
Yeah.
Huge lesson for me.
And looking at your athletic career, you were here during a pretty prominent run for the Dickinson football program. Talk about your time in the program and the lessons that Coach Bro and Coach Quattrone instilled in you guys that helped you build for success on the field, but also success off the field.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first got to Dickinson, our freshman year, we were part of a five-way tie for the Centennial Conference. But we weren't a great football team at that time. And Coach pulled us in the locker room, and I believe it was either the last game or something. And Coach talked about what that last game meant. Now, I don't even, forgive me. That was a season that was a blur. I kind of hate thinking about that season. I can't remember we ended up finishing 4-6 or 6-4. I believe 6-4. But Coach pulled us into the locker room. He says, "Hey, men, you may think the season's over, but let me tell you something. How you plan this last game will hinder recruiting or help recruiting. How you plan this last game will make fans remember if you played hard when the season wasn't going great, or if you quit when the season wasn't going great. If you don't play hard in these games, there's going to be kids who don't get a Dickinson education because they're going to decide to go to F&M or Sinus or Gettysburg because they came here and watched you guys didn't put it all out there." And as a 19-year-old kid, I'm thinking, if we don't give our all in this last game, in this season that's not going amazing, there could be kids who go to other schools. Like, literally, they're shaping some other kid's life. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And, it's just those lessons of how, important the game is, but in the bigger picture. It's how the sport is meant to help you with challenges and understanding how, the bigger picture of life, I think.
Right.
So it was actually, it was one of the more interesting kind of pep talks I got before a game.
Yeah. No,
And it had nothing to
that's
do
a
with
good one.
football. It had nothing to do with football,
No,
you know?
that literally just has everything to do with life.
Everything to do with life, and it's been fortunate that I've been able to use that example, throughout other elements of my life, and remember, the effort that you give is more important a lot of times than did you win or lose.
Hmm.
So it's been huge. It's been huge for me. I learned a lot of lessons while I was at Dickinson.
How did you guys cultivate those relationships, and how do you continue to cultivate those today? Because football is the ultimate team sport where you need to trust the man next to you. How did you guys as teammates stick together and continue to build on those relationships?
Well, I think we were fortunate. We had a pretty good freshman class. So that freshman group of guys, you know, Eric Doobie and, like I said, Chris McInerney and some of those guys, who went on to become All-Americans. They were just a great group of guys that freshman class. And I think when you have a good incoming freshman class, it really makes the upperclassmen kind of step up.
Hmm.
And that constant challenge in practice, I think, was really, really good to kind of build a bond for us, because we got after each other, but it was respect. And, us freshmen, we really respect those upperclassmen. And we had some great upperclassmen, the years I came in. And then, obviously they set the bar pretty high. So we kept that going all the way through the senior year. As an example of just the camaraderie, I believe there were 5 football players in my wedding as part of my wedding party. So it's quite, quite close knit. And I'm sure you find this with a lot of the alumni you talk to. Obviously a lot of their closest friends either were on the football team, or their respective sports, or Dickinson alumnus as well.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned in the beginning of this, Coach Q and you talked about your goals and you saw that Dickinson could help you achieve those. How did Dickinson help you find your passion for the field that you would eventually go into after graduation? And how did you cultivate that passion and those interests?
Yeah. So I started off at Dickinson. I was actually a law and policy study major. But through a Dickinson connection, I was very fortunate, and I got an internship in Wall Street in 2007, 2008, even though things were pretty rocky in the
Mm-hmm.
financial world around that time. And through another Dickinson connection after graduation, I ended up getting a job at Lehman Brothers, the now bankrupt investment bank at the time. But a lot of my career, kind of my early career achievements, came through networking with other Dickinson alum. And obviously I had them to be mentors as well. And the reason why is because they understood how hard Dickinson was as a school, and then how hard it is to even be a Dickinson student and an athlete at the same time. So it was more like a testament to my ability to do the job. So I was very, very fortunate and lucky from that.
How's that Dickinson Networks still impactful in your life? And why do you feel like it's so important for you now as an alum to be part of that network and give back to these current student athletes?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say in terms of like its importance to me, my whole life was more or less shifted when I got to Dickinson. Like I said, I was fortunate enough that, my best friends, my children's godfathers are Dickinson alums. My wife obviously is a Dickinson alum. A lot of my experiences have come through, my best achievements in life so far have gone through Dickinson. I try to come back to campus as often as possible, and to give back, because I think for both my wife and I, we realized that, turning points in our life had to do with attending Dickinson.
Mm-hmm.
So any opportunity that we can, help students out there and continue to grow that network, obviously we're all on board to do it. I mean, we know how challenging it is for a student to just go to Dickinson and, be away in Carlisle and, and to grind away. So, we want to help those students, or be a part of their lives if we can.
When you talk to those student athletes and you talk to them, what do you preach to them about what to focus on here at Dickinson, or why this liberal arts education will pay dividends in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, and the message I usually tell the the guys that I go back and visit. There's a group of guys that I kind of go back and mentor now, and I tell them that they have an opportunity here at Dickinson, and that if they go hard for 8 semesters, people in the surrounding areas and the people who are going to be hiring and people just in general networks know what it means to be a Dickinson student. So I always tell these guys, grind it out for those 8 semesters. Put all your energy into it, and it will pay dividends. Not only will, you have great opportunities outside of school, but you'll find the thing about Dickinson people is that they stay in contact, and your classmates will remember if you were a slacker or not. So I try to encourage those guys to, to really kind of keep that, keep the positive energy, to keep working hard, and that it will just pay off and things will kind of line themselves up.
What lessons did you take from Dickinson that have helped you achieve the success that you have had professionally?
Yeah, I think, that wearing the red attitude, Coach Bro, I think, he was very big on us, doing things the right way, as Coach Bro used to always say it, doing things the right way. And I'm a believer doing things the right way, things will fall into place for you. If you keep your head down, you work hard, and you do things the Dickinson football way, which is doing things the right way, things will kind of fall in line. And I think, those lessons have kind of, they got me through tough times. I know when the banks were all going bankrupt and I didn't know if I would have a job, I was able to rest on the fact that I was a Dickinson alum, that I had a good network, and that I generally was doing things the right way.
Right.
So it's been a huge, kind of huge lesson, and huge, experiences that have propelled me, that I still, even to this day, I use some of these same sayings when I run into tough situations.
People like Coach Bro and Coach Quattrone, what was the mark that they left in yours, and the lesson that you really, doing things the right way, What were those lessons and those mentalities? How did they help shape you into who you are?
Yeah, I mean, doing things the right way, preparedness. With Coach Q and Coach Bro, I felt like we were always prepared. I mean, we were never the biggest guys in the conference. I mean, I think I joke that we probably were 6 foot 200 pounds on average all the way across the board from cornerback to lineman. But I think that we were definitely always the most prepared guys.
Mhm.
I think being prepared, makes up for anything that you're missing anywhere else. I think being prepared is something that you can control. Yeah, that guy may be faster, but if he likes to cut left and then cut right, you can beat him to the spot, and that preparedness can only ever be your fault. And that's one of the biggest things I think I learned from those guys as coaches. I mean, they were never unprepared. I don't think we went into many games where, we lost a game and coach would say, yeah, we were out coached. We were out prepared. So I think, that's definitely one of those lasting impacts that they've left on me. Their preparedness, I think, was second to none.
What gave you so much pride in wearing the red, and what did that motto mean to you, and what does it still mean to this day?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, wearing the red is very similar to a Latin verse that I like, which is Esse Convidere, and wearing the red, talks about being rather than seeming.
Mhm.
And the whole concept of doing good even when no one is watching you do good. For me, when I say wearing the red, that's what I mean. So as an example for you, if I were to finish an email, if I promised that I was going to deliver A, B, and C, and then I wrote wearing the red, what that means is that without you having to think twice about it, that I'm going to go and deliver on those things that I said I was going to do.
Mhm.
And that for me is more the concept of wearing the red. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having your brother's back regardless of what's going on. And I keep that in my mind today. If I do anything, how will it reflect on my family, on my school, my friends, how I live my life, today. If people vouch for me, or say that we'll really raise the red, am I living up to that expectation? Am I getting involved? If I'm giving back, am I giving 100%?
Mhm.
So, wearing the red, I think for me means a lot. I keep reminders. I have jerseys all through my house. I keep this little red, band on.
Yep.
There's just, constant reminders for me
Yeah.
of, that I have that obligation to wear the red.
The other part of that question is, for you and even for your wife, what gives you pride in being an alum from Dickinson College?
Yeah, I think my wife has a much different experience. I mean, she's absolutely in love with the campus. It wasn't a question that whether or not we were getting married on campus. So I'm pretty excited about the school I went to, but she's like next level excited. For me, Dickinson is one of those places where, outside of the scholastics, I think the town, I think the people that I met in Dickinson, I think, where Dickinson is placed, the history of Carlisle, kind of resonates with me and keeps a nostalgia feel, with me. I think, when I get on campus, I remember what it was like to see, students run across to make it to Denny Hall, or, conversations in the cafeteria. I remember having opportunities to bring clubs on that weren't there, or bring fraternities that weren't there. An opportunity to play two sports where most people don't get that. And then having Dickinson be the place where I've cultivated friendships and networks that led me into my career long term. So for me, there's a special place. The whole, and that's Dickinson, the whole Dickinson community, all the way from the staff, to the professors, to past presidents that I've had, the honor of having relationships with. Dickinson is just one of those staple schools. And I don't think that anyone who goes there, won't leave Dickinson with a special place in their heart for Dickinson.
And the final question for you is, we're not playing football this fall. Hopefully we either play in the spring, but definitely next fall. What is your prediction for Coach Fordyce and the football program when they can finally step back on that field at Biddle?
Well, I think it's going to be a 5-game season. I think that's what you guys are talking about right now. And I've been flirting around. So, of course, I'm thinking 5-0. If it's a 10-game season, I'm going 10-0.
Okay.
No, look, I think, I think that, it's a tough time for the kids right now. I couldn't imagine being a senior, and potentially having, having the season moved around. But, I think that the guys, if we do give an opportunity to play, I think the Coach Fordyce will have us ready to go. I know that the alums will be excited to, however we're going to watch it, to see what's going on, whether that be some type of, video game or something like that.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking 5-0. I'm thinking 5-0 or 10-0.
Or 10-0. I love both answers. Both mean we're
There you go.
undefeated
Yeah, exactly.
and conference champs.
Exactly.
Well, Will, thank you so much for taking the time for joining us today and to share your experience and your story. And I can't tell you how excited I am to share that with the Dickinson community as a whole.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we look forward to seeing you back on campus when we're open for business, playing football again, and everyone's back and having a great time.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Well, stay safe, take care, and we will talk to you soon.
Likewise. Likewise.
All
Good one, brother.